of my way!
Hi, everyone. Welcome to episode 7 of the Big Boy Show. We are back and better than ever. As you can clearly see, my flag's back up because I found a way to actually get it up. Jason now has a Purdue flag.
I have a flag.
We have our special guest who is apparently at Ohio Stadium somehow through the power of the internet. Craig still has all the crap that's behind him. Sorry, Rutgers stuff, not crap. My bad.
What's the difference?
Shut up. But we just wanted to say before we start today's podcast, this will be the last one that will be going up on Jason's YouTube channel. We are starting a YouTube channel specifically for the Big Boy Show called exactly that. We also wanted to plug Big Boy Show at Boys Show on Twitter. And make sure to listen on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts. Leave us a like, leave us a comment, share it, do all that good stuff. And obviously, we're going to share it on all of our respective platforms. But without further ado, let's introduce our special guest for this week. So, Brayden, just give us a short bio about yourself. Take the floor, do everything that you want to do, and then we'll get on to everything.
Hi, I'm Brayden Deemer. I'm currently the head drum major, the 63rd head drum major for the Ohio State University Marching Band, also known as the best damn band in the land. I feel like that's as much as an introduction as I need.
Oh, alrighty.
We like it. We like the confidence. The confidence is coming out. So I know that when it comes to us having sports conversations, we usually tend to skew it more towards college, obviously, because we're talking about college marching band. But since there's a lot of pro sports that are starting up soon, I know that there's a couple Major League Baseball scrimmage games that are going on tonight. I kind of wanted to ask everyone, and obviously I'm going to chime in too, with all the sports that are returning and all the leagues that are returning, what are the leagues for all of us that we are most excited to see come back and why? So anyone can take the floor on this one.
Alrighty, I guess I'll start off. So I have been enjoying watching the AFL, but that's like 11 p.m. Eastern time to like.
That's Australian rules football for those that don't know. Not the Arena Football League, because the Arena Football League's dead.
Football League.
No, it is Australian rules football, different from rugby. I've been enjoying that, but you know what? It's inconvenient to watch at best. I'd say I'm definitely excited for the possibility of the NFL coming back in some capacity. But I'm also very excited more so for baseball because here in the great state of New Jersey, we now have 2 teams that are playing professional baseball. And it's not Rutgers. I don't have the right hat for it. So we're just going to go Blasters.
You made a thing.
So, I'm very excited for this. Last night, I think it was last night. No, it was last night, Friday night. The New Jersey Blasters beat the Somerset Patriots in their inaugural game 7-2. Go Blasters.
For those that don't know, the Somerset Patriots exist in the Atlantic League of Professional Baseball. The New Jersey Blasters were literally created just to play the Patriots, so they wanted to get games in. And Craig's now a lifelong fan since yesterday, so it's great to hear.
Day one.
Yeah, it's day one, lifelong fan. I'm also very excited about the NFL and about baseball. Jason, I think I know what league you're going to say, but just in case we have a mix-up here.
I'm going to start it out with something unconventional. I actually really enjoy watching the National Women's Soccer League.
Ooh.
Currently, the Challenge Cup is going on, and it's gotten me into soccer. I've never played soccer, but it's definitely a sport that I wish I played, and I really like watching it. Other than that, the classic one is the NHL is coming back. Go Blackhawks. Very exciting, mainly just because I've been a hockey fan my whole life because I played hockey. So I'm really excited to see it back.
Brayden?
I'm going to have to go with a really basic one because my normal answer, they kind of went bankrupt. So normally I would say XFL because that was just such a great league. It was so fun to watch. And it occupied my spring semester pretty well. Enjoying watching them Saturday, Sunday games. But now, of course, I'm going to have to go with the very basic NFL. I'm looking forward to seeing how Cam Newton is going to help the Patriots continue to dominate. how the Buccaneers are gonna somehow mess up having Tom Brady
And Gronk.
And Gronk.
Browns are finally gonna get a Super Bowl.
The Browns, you said?
Yeah, and also now there's an Ohio State quarterback. We're claiming Joe Burrow.
Okay.
Lots of good things going on in the state of Ohio, it seems like. Obviously,
As always.
as always. I guess for me, as you can clearly see by the wearing the jersey of the best team in baseball, and I say that unbiased. I'm also wearing a Rays hat and shorts. This is a Brandon Lau jersey, who went to the University of Maryland, who's the best player in baseball and is going to win AL MVP this year. Again, unbiased opinion. I just know what's going to happen. I'm so excited about baseball coming back. Yeah, exactly, Jason. Exactly. I'm so excited about baseball coming back because I miss it so much, and like I need it in my life because like without sports I'm like useless. So like I need sports and I need baseball. So I'm really happy it's going to happen. I know it's only a 60-game season, but it kind of reminds me of like a college baseball season. And having covered college baseball for a few years, I know it's going to be a lot of fun. Every game is going to matter, which is great. I guess on a different note, I'm excited to see what happens with the WNBA. Just because I know that a bunch of players are opting out, so I hope that they can still have a good season. And also, I'm excited for the Premier Lacrosse League, which is starting up its championship series in a couple weeks. I know that the MLL is starting up their tournament today in Annapolis. But I'm very excited to see if I don't really know. I don't really want to call them my Whip Snakes, but the team that used to have a bunch of Maryland guys on them, used to call them the Whip Terps because there were like 14 Maryland guys on the team. Excited to see what they do. But I guess I think that seems to be enough sports talk for now. So why don't we get into the main part of our podcast, obviously, which is the interview. And there's a lot of things to talk about when it comes to Ohio State and their marching band, the best damn band in the land. Obviously, a lot of things to do with sports, whether people in the Big Ten like it or not. I'm very indifferent about it. So that's all I'm going to say about that. Brayden, so we have a lot of questions to ask you, and I guess the easiest way to start is how did you get involved in band? How did you get involved in band and marching band, and how did you get involved with Ohio State?
So how I got involved in band, let's go way back to my freshman year of high school. Actually, let's go back to 8th grade. All right, yeah. So going back to 8th grade, we had, I don't know if you guys do it at your guys' high schools, but it's called 8th grade night with our marching band, where 8th graders are able to go and basically play a song with our high school marching band. I did that. I was on alto saxophone, and I thought it was so cool. And so I was like guaranteed locked in. I'm doing marching band in high school for sure. I had no musical talent at all at the time. I kind of was, like that one kid that was like, it's mandatory to do band. I'm just going to do band or whatever. And I thought like marching band was the coolest thing ever. So I got into marching band. We go to band camp, and I'm sitting in my room when I'm packing, and we're at some college in Pennsylvania, like an hour away from our high school. And I hear outside my window that like the sound of like wooden dowel rod dropping. And so I'm like, what's that? So I look out, and they're teaching twirling outside, like Ohio State twirling outside. I'm like, all right, that seems pretty cool. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to try and become a ninja. Verbatim, my thought process is just like, I'm going to go learn to twirl. I'm going to be a ninja. This is going to be awesome. I go outside, and they hand me a gray baton. And so for the listener or watchers, this was posted on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
This is a gray baton. I have to put it in front of my face. This is a gray baton. It's about 30 inches long. Has like a ball on the end. And they hand me that, and I'm like, I don't trust myself with this. It's a metal stick. And I was expecting a wooden stick. And so I just start twirling, and I picked it up, and eventually I kind of got more and more into it. And eventually John Levange, who was the Ohio State drum major in 2016, 2017, was also from my high school. So I started working with him. I saw that he, was going this path, going from drum major in high school to D-Row to the Ohio State University drum major. So I was like, all right, that's awesome. I want to do that. And so I kind of followed that same path. Then joining when I had a choice to go to colleges, I was like, all right, I don't really know where I want to go, but then just some opportunities popped up. I got kind of sucked into the Ohio State University marching band, and I guess the rest is history. Just here I am.
All right. Well, that's every hero has their origin story.
Every hero does. So I know that you had, I guess, some interesting choices when it came to when you were trying to pick out what college that you wanted to go to. And I know your major is quite unique for those that don't know, and you're gonna, hopefully we'll explain all of that in a couple seconds. But when you were looking at colleges, how were you trying to look at somewhere that had a marching band? I mean, obviously Ohio State atop that list, but what were you looking at when it came to choices?
As for just colleges, I kind of had two main choices. I was going into aerospace engineering originally, and I wanted to do something with either planes or rockets or anything that flies. So of course my first choice would have been Embry-Riddle, which is a fantastic aerospace school, and then my second choice was Ohio State. I got accepted to Embry-Riddle. They have a ridiculous tuition. It's in Daytona Beach, though, right next to where they have the Daytona 500, 15-minute walk away from the beach. The campus is absolutely beautiful. And then there's Ohio State that also has an absolutely beautiful campus. And it's in Columbus, Ohio, where it rains probably every other day. But Ohio State has the best damn band in the land. And so I was kind of going back and forth. My original idea was aerospace engineering, but then also I was considering, what if I don't like it? What if I don't like the aviation industry? What if I don't like this? So I was kind of worried about going to Embry-Riddle because it's just an aerospace school. So ultimately, I got invited to some things through the band that kind of swayed my decision. One of them was the drum major recruitment game, where they choose some seniors who are drum majors at high school level to come and follow the marching band. That kind of swayed my decision, and ultimately I ended up choosing Ohio State. I switched away from aerospace engineering to aviation, so I'm now an air transportation major, and I'm going to end up, I fly basically every single day, fly little Cessnas, and hopefully going into the commercial aviation industry. So it definitely was a big choice, but I think I made the right decision for choosing Ohio State.
I think we all concur with that. And I know, obviously, we're going to talk a lot about band stuff, but I know that Jason, being very much more of a connoisseur of marching bands than I, has a lot of questions for you in terms of band. So Jason, why don't you take the floor, ask as many things as you want, and then I'll come back and we'll finish everything off.
I think the first thing, Brayden, you mentioned it earlier, but D-Row. Can you please explain what that is?
All right. So when I say D-Row, what I'm meaning is specifically the drum major training program. So normally when you guys are in marching band, you guys are having marching band practice. I don't know how long it is for you guys. For us, it's 2 hours. You guys are working on drill, learning music, doing all this kind of stuff. The drum major training program, of course, the drum major doesn't always the Ohio State drum major is kind of a unique position because it's a twirling position. It's kind of like feature twirler on steroids, and they're on the field. But of course, the drum major they choose their spots, so they don't have to be with them practicing. They don't have to be with them practicing with music. So instead, they're with the drum major training program, kind of working with us, teaching us. I guess I am now the drum major, so it's no longer us, but working with the drum major training program. And their whole focus is during those 2 hours of practice, 4:10 to 6:15, is just work on twirling, work on learning tricks, work on ramp entrance, everything that has to do with the drum major position, so that come tryouts in the spring for the drum major position, you can try out and you have you are the best that you could be, because you had a mandatory 2 hours, 5 days a week, every single day practicing. And in terms of why it's called D-row, just really briefly explaining rows in the band. They're kind of like sections, except not like sections at all. When you look at us entering for ramp entrance, you notice that we line up in a block, and there's rows going across. Each row going across, that's a row. So A row is the very first one. B row is the second row. C row is the next row, and so on and so forth. Each row has their own instruments. So for example, like A row, B row, like X row, T row, S row, they're all trumpet rows. Or H and M row are baritone rows, and they just line up for how they enter in for pregame. There may be more than one row that has an instrument, but they generally act as a family, one unit. And D row is our own unit. There's about 7 of us in a row.
So would you so D row, are they on the field for like if we were to watch a pregame for Ohio State, would they be on the field too?
So D row is the only row that is not on the field. D row, the only person from D row on the field is the head drum major during pregame and halftime, and then the assistant drum major is on the field for post game. We all have other roles. We have alternates. So every single row has 2 alternates, and they're all doing banners. And during the game, during halftime, our job is basically act as an alternate, fill in for a spot if someone's sick, and as well as do banners, play character, help out any way you can during the game or during the halftime.
So in a way, it's like, would you say it's like a red shirt program for drum majors, kind of?
Yeah, I guess that's one way to put it. We always say that they're like understudies, because if, say, I got sick, then our assistant drum major Kyle Hustek would fill in for us. So I do ramp. So if I was sick, then Kyle Hustek would do ramp. But let's say me and Kyle were both sick, then whoever's D3, so I'm D1, Kyle's D2, whoever's D3 would then go and do ramp.
Okay. So next thing, we've talked about this before, but can you walk us through, it's going to be a long one, but can you walk us through what the Ohio State band camp is like? It's very unique across all the schools in the nation. So can you walk us through that?
All right. So from the very beginning, if you're a freshman coming in, the first thing you want to go to is, and that's what we're working on right now, are summer sessions, where we teach you marching fundamentals. We teach you, marching ideas and all this stuff. Basically the theory of marching at Ohio State, as well as we teach you the music you need to know. And for my section D row, we teach you, the twirling, you teach you ramp, basically everything you need to know to be able to try out. We just basically give it all to you. It's like preparing to study for a test, basically. The entire semester is preparing you for finals, essentially. So then when you get through summer sessions, and then when you finally get to the tryouts, as a freshman coming in, as a true freshman, or maybe as in a first year, you've never been in the band before, you're trying out for the band, you have what is called candidate days. So you're called a candidate. You aren't a returning veteran. So veterans aren't at candidate day. It's just, very first people who've never been in the band before. It's totally brand new. And they basically, during that time, we go over everything. I think we have 2 sessions, and it's 3 hours each. I think that's right, but it's basically somewhere around there, where it's pretty much an all-day thing, where we just are working with you one-on-one. Then come tryouts. Ohio State marching band tryouts are 2 days long. Each day consists of 2 sessions. Each session is 3 hours long. Of course, the first session is actually 4 hours long. So first day, it's 8 to 12. And then you have a 2-hour break, and then 2 to 5. And now let's go into what each individual session consists of. So basically, to start off your session, you have what are called on the lines. And on the lines are basically a way to judge your marching. So all those fundamentals we worked on, everything that you just practiced throughout, every Tuesday and Thursday throughout the entire summer, you then are basically demonstrating here. And so an online starts with us giving you like commands, like left, right, and you basically acting on those commands, basically showing how your response is, how you process information really, really quickly. And then we give you drill. So, for example, just a super simple drill is, band your drill is 1-8 forward, 1-8 backwards, 1-8 forward. Tap, tap, tap. And it's just like that. They give you the drill, you execute the drill. That shows you memorization, how well you can remember stuff, how well you execute stuff, and also showing your marching fundamentals. After that, we go on to still with on the lines, the hang on Sloopy portion of it, where we basically sing hang on Sloopy and demonstrate our arc going back and forth. And if you watch any Ohio State marching band video of us playing Sloopy, you'll see that, as well as there's a Sloopy step that we do. And we end off on the line with basically an in-place ramp, where we simulate doing ramp, where it basically drains us of energy. It's really fast-paced, 180 beats per minute, and then we have a drill to execute. And that's basically on the line in a nutshell. And then also in sessions, we have block band. Block band is where we basically they're looking for how well you play in march, how well you line up with other people next to each other. And there's also a tryout drill that they give you. So it's like they give you a song. So for example, I Want to Go Back is a song that we play. It's one of our school songs. They'll say, all right, so your drill is to the song of I Want to Go Back. And then you basically have to memorize this entire drill in about an hour or so. And then we play it and march it and block at the end of the session, as well. Then we end off each session with 1, 2, and I think we've done 3 ramp entrances where we're basically marching in place. And if you ever watch it, it's basically literally what you see on YouTube or on Facebook or wherever, doing those, and then march down the field playing Buckeye Battle Cry. So we do 2 of those a day for 2 days straight, so 4 sessions of on the lines and block band. And if you are trying out an instrument, you on top of that also have a music audition, which is extremely important, where you have a song to try out on as well as school songs. And then if you're trying out for my section on D row, you have during the second day at lunchtime, you actually have a performance where you have to do ramp entrance, the drum major ramp entrance up to the back bend. So you have to actually be able to do the back bend when you're trying out for the marching band in D row. And then also you have to have a routine prepared. So we have a song. This year's song is My Favorite Things from our Road to the National Championship album, Volume 1. And you basically have to have a routine to that. And going into that, you get through those 2 days. And do you want me to go into to make the band night?
Yeah.
All right. So you have those 2 days. The second day, I believe the second day is a Monday. So you finish that second day at 5 o'clock. You go home, you get a shower, you get dressed up in your nicest clothes that you can find, a full suit if you can do it. You got to look nice. You got to impress, because this is the night. It's called Make the Band Night. You go out to dinner with the row you tried out on. You basically, it's super laid back. You're talking to your squad leaders, because they're squad leaders that were judging you. They previously they go and be friends with you because they have to be unbiased. So they have to cut connections. So make the band night, you basically this is the first time for 2 days that you're being able to talk to your squad leaders. And they're kind of like, they're not giving you hints, they're not telling you about how you did, they're just kind of just generally talking. And it's supposed to be super laid back. I know in the past, like, my mind's rushing the entire time. Like, both my squad leaders are there. I am sitting at a table with everyone I just tried out that I just tried out for this row on, that I'm basically competing against. And my mind's trying to not think about, what I'm going to learn in the next couple of hours. Not trying to think about trying out for the band, not trying to think about the position, just trying to be relaxed. And, you think like, oh yeah, I can easily clear my mind. But after you just gone through 2 days, and for a first year, 4 days of marching almost nonstop for an entire workday, it's hard to separate yourself from that. And then you go back to the stadium where our band center is, and you sit outside the band center. Inside the band center, our directors are there. They've been there for anywhere from an hour to however long it takes, and they're basically debating who gets in the band. They have the scores, everything's tallied up, and I've seen pictures of it. Of course, it's blurred out because every single time it's opened, of course, they have names, actual people's names on it, but they literally have everyone's names written down on, like, let me see if I have one. Like, I don't, but like those little keychain tabs where you write like, oh, this key's for the main house door. They have your names written down on that, and they have them on like little pegs in this board in block band formation, and they're basically debating on whether or not you get in the band. And of course, you don't see this. This is what's going on inside the band center. Everyone that's tried out for the band sits outside of the band center. This takes anywhere from you're sitting out there for like an hour or so. That's about the average of what I've been sitting out there for. And then you get called in to the band center, and you called in, you walk in there, everyone's dressed up super nice. All the ladies are in dresses, all the gentlemen are in suits, or there's some people that like are super dapper, they have like vests on. Whatever they have that's like super nice. And you go in there, you sit with your section, and the second that door opens into the band lobby, it's quiet, no one's talking, because that like in the next couple of minutes you find out if the last 2 days of work are worth it, if you made the band or not. So you're standing there, you get in the band room, there's a little bit of chatter. It's kind of like just basically to put into like how loud it is. If you ever gone into like a super fancy restaurant, like the bill, even if you get water, is like $100 minimum, like that kind of chatter where it's like you can kind of make out people's conversations, but no, not really. So it's like that quiet in the band room. And then you're in there, the doors are shut, and the doors open, and our squad leaders walk in. Everyone that we were just at dinner with, people that just evaluated us, they all walk in a single file line. They have straight faces. In my past, I've seen some that have like, tears starting to run down their eyes because they just found out who made the band. So you're sitting there, and it's like you're basically you went from a smile, talking with your friends, joking to all right, what's going on? They line in. Then our band director, Dr. Hoke, walks in. He goes up, basically gives a really short speech, and then just starts naming off who made the band. And I was talking about the rows earlier. He goes in chronological order. So if you're A1, he would basically start off with A1, Alex Murphy, A2, Jason Park, so on and so forth, and just constantly like just reading off these, starting with A row, then B row, then C row, then D row, then E, then F, then H, then I, J, K, L, so on and so forth. And you're just listening for your name. My very first year, I made D6. So there was 3 entire rows of 14 people, and 5 other people in front of me. So their names all got read off before I even heard mine. And when you hear your name, it's kind of like a moment of relief. And then you start listening for your friends' names. And mind you, it goes all the way to X row. So you could be X14. And if you're X14, the last person to make the band, you just listen through, all 80-something trumpets. If you're trying, because X row is a trumpet row, you just listen to all 80-something trumpets. And, it's super nerve-wracking. And after make the band night, you kind of, it lightens up. There's tears all over the place. There's a lot of crying. It's intense. It's like, I'm not saying like the awesome, like, yeah, awesome. Like, it's an awesome moment. The feeling I don't think I could ever replicate, ever. But especially my first time making the band, being as like I took a risk going to Ohio State versus going to Embry-Riddle, which was like a safe aerospace school, like guaranteed a job, guaranteed a happy life. Just coming here, I want to be in the marching band. Like, that's why I'm at Ohio State. You hear your name for the first time, and it's like, it's relief. After that, those who didn't make the band go in the trumpet room. Dr. Hoke has he has a speech written out for them. I'm not going to go too much into detail into that. And then, you kind of go with your row, and they talk about traditions. They basically introduce you into the band. At this point, just to put into how late it is, it's sometimes like 10:30. Sometimes I've seen later, or sometimes I've heard it's been later. It's pretty late. And you're trying out, and you're just, you just made the band, and you're walking around the Ohio Stadium, this Ohio Stadium. You get on the field, they introduce you to the band customs, tell you some traditions, some specific row traditions, and basically you get introduced. You go around, introduce yourself in a circle, all of the basic like stuff, and then you have your very first band meeting. The very first time you get assigned your seat in the marching band, and this is at like 11:30, midnight, like late at night. You make the band, and then the very next day, bright and early, you have band practice for 8 hours the next day, which is what we call 3 days. So we have practice 3 times a day, which is like 9 to 12, then 2 to 5, and then 7 to 9. So that's basically basically what happens when you make the band. Definitely make the band that's really intense, and I make it sound like it's more intense. That's just my perspective on it from the past 2 years trying out. I know for some it's different experience. There's people out there who haven't made the band ever, and they've only experienced the negative side of make the band night, and it's like you're grinding your teeth, like you have a fist, like you're trying not to freak out. And there's people that make it every single year, and they're guaranteed. I want to say no spot's guaranteed, so I'm gonna take that back. But they're confident that they made a spot. So that's just my perspective. Everyone's experience with it is a little bit different, but it's an awesome moment.
Sounds like ain't no rest for the wicked. You guys are just going.
That's intense.
Y'all go hard every day.
Sounds intense.
So, just curious about like the numbers of all this. So, how big is the Ohio State band in total compared to how many people audition? Because I remember my freshman year, Rutgers did have auditions for the band, something we've since stopped doing because we just don't have the numbers to be able to do it. But I was really nervous, and my section leader was like, relax, like this isn't Ohio State. There's not 400 people auditioning. It's so like that was a rumor that I'd kind of just always had, like what are the actual numbers for size versus like total auditions and all those numbers?
So we have, for the very first day of tryouts, we have about so the exact number is about 400 to 450 people trying out, and I think that's last year's number. And then during tryouts, we have what are called first cuts. So after your third on the line, you're after your third session. So the second day, which is a Monday at lunchtime, we have what are called first cuts. So these are people that basically like, I don't want to categorize them, but it's did make the cut. You have a little bit more to work on. You have more improvement to go along the road, and it's just your numbers aren't adding up. So first cuts, and then that brings it down to about around 350 or something, and then second cuts make the band night. We go from about 350 to 229 plus D-row, which so that adds up to like 235.
So then, Craig, so the amount of people, and I guess Alex too, the amount of people that come to band camp or the amount of people that make the band?
Yeah, at Rutgers, it's
Pretty
you
much.
show up to band camp, unless you do something really bad and
Or
get
unless
yourself
you're
kicked
me.
out.
And you just like decide to like not do band after a day.
Yeah, I mean there are definitely people that quit, but like in
Yeah.
terms of just like the total number of like people, we very rarely make cuts. If anything, somebody just, if they're not there yet, they're just said they're told, all right, you're gonna be an alternate. Once you either get like once you get the marching down, we can put you on the field, and then you can kind of figure out your playing. If you're not good enough to actually play, just march and don't make a sound.
Yeah.
But
What's funny is that's actually the alternates role. So specifically D-row, not specifically. So specifically D-row, my section, we're all alternates. So if we're on a parade and let's say someone from B-row, which is a trumpet row, is sick, B7 is sick, they go to D3. So whoever's D3 gets to fill in for that spot. But, whoever's D3 most likely probably can't play that instrument.
Yeah.
I'm a woodwindist in an all-brass band.
So easy, right? Just pick it
Yeah,
up.
Easy stuff.
I can see where the problems may arise.
Easy money.
Yeah, so like-
What instruments have you had to fill in on?
Have you?
Yeah, have you? Should ask first.
I have filled in trumpet multiple times, mellophone. My favorite is filling in for baritone, just because it's a pretty fun instrument. You get to hug it. And
Yeah,
so
the Ohio State baritones are different, I think, than most of the
Yeah, I
country.
think- I
'Cause
believe
you guys
they
have
use
like the ones
contrabass,
you're
right?
holding on to, right?
yeah, we don't use marching baritones. We use like normal baritones that have like the angled horns. And I've also marched. The only time I ever marched tuba was for the team up north last year. I marched tuba, and it was the most exciting thing I've ever done.
That's pretty cool. I will say for Maryland again, unless you quit or you have some extenuating circumstance like what I did last year, for the most part, like we don't cut anyone. We don't have cuts. We now have like a set amount of people for pregame, so we'll have alternates come in. But other than that, we're what we come in with is usually what we come out with by the end of the season.
I think our band camp numbers are usually around 500, if I remember correctly. So around the same as Ohio State, but we only cut our band down to I think about 380. So we have more, especially because we have woodwinds and a full color guard, and then a full twirling line and some dancers. So our band's bigger.
And also to clear things up, Ohio State is all brass. We have no woodwinds. We don't have a color guard. We don't have flag. The only twirlers we have is D-row. Most of them don't twirl for games. And the only person twirling on the field during a game day is our head drum major and our assistant drum major for post game. So
Why is that? Why does Ohio State not have those sections?
Just tradition. We started off as an ROTC band way back in the day. We call it what is it? BT before Tubby Essington, who was our very first modern drum major. So prior to that, we were part of the Navy ROTC. So it was just a brass band that supported the ROTC, and yeah, so that's kind of why we're all
Just haven't changed it from there.
yeah, why we're all brass, and we don't have any color guard or there's no rifle team, there's no flag team, and it's also fun fact, we own our uniforms are not black, they are a very dark navy blue.
Interesting.
That blew my mind when I heard that the first time. You have to look really close. Like, I feel like seeing it in person is definitely something where you'll notice it more, because I don't think you notice it much online, to be honest.
Mm-mm.
Like looking at a screen, I think you have to see it in person.
Yeah, if who edits these? Craig.
I do.
Yeah, so if you want to, you can go and try and find a really close-up image, and if you compare the uniform to the black tie, because our tie is black, if you compare those two, you can tell that our uniform is actually navy blue. It's hard to tell, like you said, Jason. It's hard to tell through pictures, just because it's a picture. But in person in broad daylight, it is very obvious that they're navy blue.
I know a lot
as somebody
about-
who's never seen them in person, this is shocking news to me. It's kind of just
You're gonna go see it. You're gonna see it in person and be like, "What? It's true. They're not black." But
my life was a lie.
So, people that are not marching band usually don't know this, but marching band uniforms can get very hot in the summer, but for some reason they're never thick enough for the winter. So, Ohio State has I would say a pretty unique uniform amongst college bands, which I think consists of, we talked about it earlier, but I think you said a short sleeve dress shirt underneath, a tie, and then like some sort of overcoat thing.
Yep. So it's basically like it's kind of like a Navy formal uniform. So we have, of course, a cutoff, like a short sleeve dress white shirt. Then we have a black tie, our jacket, so kind of like a suit jacket that has. I'm not going to say how many buttons because I forget, and I don't want my friends to call me out on that. But then it's a button up like basically suit jacket. And then we also have our crossbows, which are white. I don't even know the material, but like they're firm. And you put them on and it hugs your body, so it's tight. And then pants wise, we have you have to have a belt on. Some people wear suspenders. Navy blue pants. And then our dinkles. You guys have dinkles?
Yes.
Yeah.
No, we are not
You
a
guys got
Dinkles
spats
band.
too, right? Spats? Team
Yeah,
spats?
we also have spats.
Team spats.
Team spats.
So you can actually tell if we're wearing spats. So on a home game, you can tell in pictures if it's pre-skull session or post-skull session, because at skull session we put on our spats. So if we don't have spats on, it's probably morning rehearsal picture, or we're marching over to skull session. And if you have our spats on, you're marching back over to the stadium to do pregame or halftime, any other time during game day.
So you mentioned skull session, and that's part of like that's a big part of an Ohio State game day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So then,
Yeah.
Can you actually walk us through what so for you, especially when you wake up in the morning, like how does your game day start, and like can you walk us through like a typical game day for Ohio State?
So I'm going to talk about my game day as a student living on campus in a dorm at Ohio State. So I wake up at about 4 a.m. Great time to wake up. Let me tell you, campus is quiet.
Let's just start. What time is kickoff?
Kickup's this is for a noon kickoff.
Okay.
Oh, the wondrous noon kickoffs. What a time.
He's waking up at 4 a.m. for a late night kickoff.
Yeah. Well, that's a long game day.
Oh yeah, for a night kickoff, which I think we only had one. I think was Penn State, a home Penn State game. I've only experienced one night Ohio State game, which I woke up at 9 a.m. for. But and that was for I think a 6 o'clock kickoff. But anyway, That one was a lot more lax. But this is for a noon game, which is a typical game for Ohio State for some reason. A noon game. I would wake up at 4 a.m. No one else in my dorm is awake. In that entire building, no one else is awake. If anyone else is awake, they didn't go to bed yet because they've been playing like Rocket League or something. So I wake up, get a quick shower, wake myself up, and I put on my uniform. And I'll tell you why I put on my uniform earlier. If I don't tell you, remind me because I probably forgot. Then I'll get breakfast. I go to some place called Buckeye Donuts. Fantastic name. I'll get donuts from my section, and then I'll walk over to the stadium. And by this time when I get there, it's about 5:30. I'm going in. I go through security. They check my bags, check the donuts, make sure there's nothing bad about the donuts. They try to steal my donut. It's good. Security tries to steal my donuts. Normal to game day stuff. I get up there, and we have what are called lead outs. So A and B row are so when you watch pregame and you see the band filing out. The very first rows are the very first two rows that come out is A and B row, and they practice as well as the following bands or the following rows that come out last practice as well. So A and B row practice, and the head drum major practices, running out of running down the ramp and running out to, or you should say practice strutting out to the 35, but we don't really do the full thing. We just kind of jog out there. So those are done, and so we're in our seats by about, let's say, in seats, in uniform, full uniform, by 6:30. At this time, when we're sitting in our seats, we kind of go through warm-ups. We have breathing exercises we do, some stretches in place, and we then watch video. So what I say about video is basically the day before, for our grade A, which is basically in partial uniform, basically our training, which is like a gray shirt, gray pants, and our hat. So we all look the same. We record video and we watch that, which is we watch our pregame, we watch our halftime show, and we try and get basically an idea of what's going on, so that when we go outside later on, we can practice. We have an idea of where we were, where we need to fix. And we can see from C deck up here. We have an idea of what it looks like from up there. When we finish that, we go down to the field. By this time, it's like, oh God, at this point, I don't even know what time it is, so I'm not even gonna try and guess the time. At this point, my phone's in my pocket. I don't pay attention to my watch. It's game day. You get excited and stuff. So we go down to the field, and we have or almost a full practice. We start off with uniform checks, so we're all in a line. Our squad leaders get checked by staff, and then our squad leaders come and check all of us. They're basically checking to make sure our uniforms are perfect, so that we don't, nothing's wrong, nothing looks off. Because it's kind of a tricky uniform to get right. So we talk about that, make sure, or they look over that, make sure it's right, and they have us fix anything that we mess up. Then we do practice. We'll do a diagonal drill, where we practice just doing diagonals back and forth, just to practice getting placement and basically get that neural pathway programmed for the day to line up both, in front of you, from the side of you, and diagonally, so that we have a perfect block for pregame. Then after that, we practice pregame. We just full out pregame. And drum major comes out, struts out to 35, does a back bend, everything, and we basically do a full run through of pregame. Then we go on and we do a drum through. We're just percussion's playing. We do a drum through of that of our halftime show, and then we do a full playthrough of our halftime show. Of course, with us all being brass instruments and holding back a little bit. This is actually, by this point, this is the second time we're playing through our shows. And I forgot to mention, we actually play everything in the band room before we come out. After that, when we finish up with this, all props and all that gets sent into the stadium, gets checked by security, goes in, and we go back to our band center, eat lunch. We usually have about 30 to 45 minutes for lunch. And then we line up to march over to Skull Session, which I mentioned earlier. March over to Skull Session. It's a really big thing. The team goes over there. One of the football coaches gives a speech, which is usually something really, really big, and it gets the crowd pumped up, and it's huge. Then we play through all of pregame. We play through all of halftime, and then there's a few other songs we play in between there. And it's basically it's a full band performance, basically what we would do if we were in concert. And then after this, we have sometimes 15. There's sometimes 30 minutes when we're fast, but it's usually about 15 minutes. Band lines up again, marches over back to the stadium from St. John's Arena, and basically does pregame traditions for ramp. At this time, it's like 11:30-ish or so. Kickoff is at 12. Ramps at 20 minutes till kickoff. So it hits 20, and I think it's about 20, and then our percussion section, J and I row, which we call gyro, marches down and starts pregame. And there's something they left out in there just because there is so much on game day that we go over. That's pretty much generally what it is. It's 6 hours of band, and then we get to the game.
And then, still more band. It's not just like
it doesn't stop at game time. Then
for everyone, it's not done there. There's still the rest of the game, and then post game, I'm sure.
Usually I wake up at 4, and then I'm walking out of my uniform from the stadium at like 4:30, something like that. So it's from the second I wake up, it's 12 hours before I have any free time.
So quick question. So say I came in and like, I don't know, something's up with my uniform. Like, say something was wrong, or I think, do you guys have a policy where you have to be clean shaven?
Yes. So our shaving policy is you can only have a mustache. You can have a beard, and you can't see it, but I have scruffle around. You can't have
me too.
You can't have what Craig has. If you showed up on game day in uniform with what Craig has, or anyone in the band saw you in uniform with a full beard, I don't think you would hear the end of it. Our policy is that we're clean shaving, and we can only have a mustache. And so the question about what happens if you have something wrong with your uniform, you can fail a uniform check. And if you fail a uniform check, I don't think I've ever seen it happen, because we're all in the band are really good about making sure our uniforms are right. But if you fail a uniform check, then you are an alternate for the next week, for the next game. So not that game day, but the next Saturday you're an alternate, and you can't challenge for a normal spot. So it's pretty strict.
Definitely sounds like it. So I think from that, I think it's only natural to talk about the game for those that don't know. Ohio State versus, as you say, the team up north, or Michigan, the Michigan Wolverines. What goes on that week, whether you guys are going to Michigan or whether the game is at Ohio State? What traditions exist band-wise when it comes to just everything surrounding that game? Obviously, we can talk about the X's on all of the M's around campus, stuff like that. But I guess for you guys, what sort of traditions do you guys have?
Yeah, so as for traditions, just university traditions for the game, well, first of all, there used to be one where we would all go jump in Mirror Lake, which is this really nice, beautiful place. It's like a really nice lake, right next to the really old Ohio Union. But that's been shut down. We can't do that anymore. But one of the best traditions ever is placing X's, red tape X's, over every single M on campus. Every single M on campus. And when I say every single M, and Craig, I'll try and find a picture of it and I'll send it to you.
All right,
There was
sounds good.
construction. No, of this specific thing, there was construction going on, and there was these big cranes for building skyscrapers on campus, and they had the company's name on it, and it started with an M. That Monday of the game week, of the week of the game, there was an X on that M. I don't know how I got up there, but
Up on like the crane, up in the air.
on top of a crane, like one of those cranes where they build it up for skyscrapers. There was an X on the M on top of that crane. So that just goes to show how huge of like how big of a tradition that is. And also try and find pictures of it, of the M's all taped out with X's throughout the band stadium. Of course, with the Ohio State University marching band. So M, we're the arching band. We have an M row. M row becomes O row. I don't know. Does
that mean there's 2 O rows?
We don't have an O row actually. There's some letters that we don't have, and that's a whole other story.
Next time.
When we have you back on, we'll get that one.
Yeah, and then so for other traditions, another one is we basically have meet the team night. So the entire Ohio State University marching band goes to the Woody Hayes Athletic Center, and we basically meet the football team, and we do a Script Ohio for them, and then we do a Script Ohio where they're marching our spots. We give them our instruments, and they do their best. They do their best to play Larege and spell Ohio. It's always funny seeing every single football player goes right to percussion because they just that's the easiest thing. You don't have to have any skills or anything. You just hit the drum.
You don't have to have any
Some
skills to
people
play
aren't gonna like
percussion. Oh my god,
okay.
Caroline would have something to say for that one.
Oh, I'm not trying to start any wars. So yeah, then we also have it where football players can go up onto the ladder, or the director's ladder, take the baton and conduct the band, which I always think is really funny, and it sometimes get included in our hype videos for the game. So you'll see I think there's a video of some huge, gigantic defensive lineman on this little aluminum ladder, and he's holding on for dear life, just swinging his arm, conducting to him. He's like this and going at it. It's so funny. It's such a fun time.
But here's the question: does the band actually follow them, or do they just kind of conduct themselves and just kind of play to themselves?
I think that's a trade secret.
Oh, okay.
Really? You think?
I think that's a trade secret. You can't ruin the fun for them.
All right.
I mean, you can't spoil it for them. They think they're
No further questions.
You can't spoil it.
In terms of other traditions, how I mentioned, I always have uniform checks. The best damn band in the land started off as an ROTC band, so it's only fitting that we have the ROTC come and check our uniforms. So instead of having squad leaders check uniforms on game day, we have ROTC come and check them, which is it's really cool. There's a speech that is given during that when we're all at attention, and I think it's a really cool tradition, and being able to bring back a little bit of our roots. As for other traditions, winning is always a fun one.
Oh, okay.
That's a pretty good tradition.
You didn't win against us.
Don't we play you again this year?
Don't worry about that. we don't have to talk about the fact that we have to play Ohio State again. No, that doesn't matter. That doesn't matter.
Yeah, and then either way, whether we're home or away too for the game, it's always fun. Having having a rival, being able to have a week that you look forward to. It's the game's usually in like November-ish, so it's the last game of our regular season. It marks the end of marching band, of course, which is sad, but it is an absolutely exciting moment. Like, it's so exciting. And when we have a home game, and my very first year in the band, it was a home game for the game, and we won, and just we normally have post game, and we always talk about just like, let's hope that post game's canceled, and it's the only time you want a performance canceled, because when we win the game, the field gets rushed, and it's so exciting because you have the tunnels on either side. The tunnels, I think, if I'm not frozen, tunnels like right there and over there. It's not going to show up, but yeah, the tunnels on either side at the end of the shoe are just lined up with police officers. The second that the game clock hits 0, they all rush out. They protect the goalposts, and everyone's just hopping the railings, going down in the field. Not they don't want you to do that, but everyone does it, and it's so exciting. I have a really cool photo, a panoramic photo of it, of just the entire field filled with like it's a cold game, so everyone has black jackets, but just scarlet and gray, and it's so cool. So I mean, I can say,
well, if you can send me that picture, I'll throw it up on screen right now.
Yeah, I'll have
definitely.
I'll add it to my reminders to do.
And do you guys does the Michigan band come to Ohio State, and then do you guys go to Michigan for that game?
Yeah. So normally we travel. Oh, wait.
Go ahead.
Continue.
I was just gonna say, how are the interactions like between the bands, if there are any?
For on terms of on bands, I love seeing the team up north play. I love their marching band. Their drum major from the past couple of years. She's so nice, and I don't think there's really any I don't think there's any beef between the marching bands, just because we understand that this isn't we're here to support our teams. We're on our side. You're on your side. But when it comes to halftime, it's we're both we want each other to have the best game that we can.
Exactly.
And in terms of the football players, I don't think they get that we're here just to support our team. So in the alternate line, which another picture, Craig, if you want to put up,
all right,
so people can see what the alternate line is. I'm really making you do work, Craig. I'm sorry.
It's all right. It's all right. I like the work.
So for the alternate line, the team up north, their team runs past the alternate line, and as they're running past us, they're yelling at us, saying stuff, bumping into us, and poor sportsmanship. But either way, the interactions between the bands, it's never negative. I don't think it's ever been negative, especially because when we went up north this past year, their team actually got us goodie bags with candy and stuff, and it was so nice. It was heartwarming.
Well,
shout out the Northwestern band for also giving at least our mellow section goodie bags when we went to Northwestern. So we love that.
Speaking of players and sportsmanship, I do want to say the only time I've interacted with an opposing team's player was when we played Ohio State in the I forget what year it was, but we were walking onto the field for post game as the players were walking off the field into the locker rooms, and one of the players he kind of glanced over at us and was like, "Good job." And, just it's all right. You know what? He's used to the Ohio State band, the best damn band in the land, and he's telling us good job. You know what? I'll take that. I will take that. Pretty good. So you know what?
It's a good compliment.
Shout out to your players for having good sportsmanship. If all teams could do that, that'd be great.
I definitely think that just the atmosphere we have, the fans, the fan base we have, and just how positive and like supportive we like everyone at Ohio State is of each other. It's definitely like it's unrivaled and unique in the college football realm. I'd say in any sports realm in general, because you go first you have an Ohio State fan base that's nationwide. So you go anywhere and there's always going to be support. There's always going to be support of us, and it's never like, oh well, why is the marching band on the field, which is sometimes unfortunately a reaction for some sports fan bases, but it's never for us. I can tell like our football social media pages post pictures of TBDBITL, and we post vice versa, like interactions and stuff like that, and it's always positive. And I think that and I like to hear that it's even if it's just like a little thumbs up, good job guys, to Rutgers. Like I like that it's feeling over. And I mean, of course we have those extreme fans that are like, oh yeah, F this team and stuff like this, but in general 99.999, that number can go on forever. They're all going to be supportive, and they mostly understand that it's a game. And if you guys have had any experiences with those fans that aren't like that, then they're probably just Ohio State fans just so they can get a national championship, just like how people are Patriots fans.
Yeah.
Or Duke basketball fans.
Hey, I had Duke basketball losing their first game.
Good.
And I think
as you should.
I think it was the year that they did, or it was something. I ended up getting the top four for the final four for March Madness. So I'm glad I chose Duke to lose. But I just want to say I'm not on that hype train for Duke.
Now,
see, we don't have that problem though about having the fans that are just there for a national championship. Our fans are there because they care and they love Rutgers. They are not in there for a national championship. They're not fair weather fans. If you're a Rutgers fan,
you made a bad life decision.
Yeah, somewhere along the line you probably went wrong. Like
now, I was curious because obviously, unlike some of the other people that are on this call, the bands that they are involved in don't necessarily go to that many away games and bowl games and things of the sort like Ohio State does. So obviously, Brayden, you've had your fair share of going to games, and you've had your fair share of bowl games, and going to the college football playoff semifinal, even though you guys lost controversially or not controversially, it was a loss. But you guys still got to go to Phoenix to go play Clemson, and you guys have had other experiences like that. So can you talk about more about the Ohio State fans in terms of those away games, and you guys like the support that you guys get where you go, but then also the experiences that you've had either individually or as a band with different away trips and, memorable experiences that you've had?
Yeah. So Ohio State normally travels to to 2 away games during the season. And if it's a Team Up North game, then it will go to that one and then one other one. And then we travel to all postseason games. So Big Ten championship when that does come around.
Yeah. No, whatever.
And then national championships, which is always something that we hope for, or bowl games. And it usually is a really cool experience, as well as we also have sometimes other performances that we go to. I know in the past, 2015, we went to London for an NFL performance. And then also during the season, I'm not going to forget at this time, we rotate back and forth, going to a Browns game to perform for halftime there, and to a Bengals game to perform halfway there. And we go back and forth. And there's times I think we go to Buffalo Bills game. There has been in the past. So in terms of experiences and relating directly to fan bases, it is really, I think it's unique being in this band, being in this fan base at this university, having, one of the largest fan bases, one of the largest alumni bases in the country. when in 2000 and what year is it? In 2018. Well, I guess that would technically 2019 for the Rose Bowl when we were there. We had what's called a Buckeye Bash. Why are you shaking your hands?
As you do. It's like, yeah, I don't know when the last time we went to the, was it like 2018, 2019? It was one of those years when we went to the Rose Bowl.
I swear I'm not trying to flex when I say it. It was so 2000 and the last time we went to the Rose Bowl, the most recent time we went to the Rose Bowl, we had what's called a Buckeye Bash, which we have these a lot. And so I think we had it in LA. And I remember I think it was in LA because a lot of us were tweeting LeBron James trying to get him to show up. Because we know he's an Ohio State fan. So
Likes to win.
It's on our itinerary. Yeah, it's on our itinerary, and you see Buckeye Bash, and we had performances that day. It was an off day where we had some free time, but mostly we're just going around, performing to fans. And we pull up and we're in this parking lot, and we're just getting ready. We don't really know what to expect for this at all, and usually a lot of us aren't thinking about the performance as we're showing up to it. We're just thinking about all right, what do we got to wear, what do we got to do, and whatever. And so we show up, and I'm pretty sure it was right outside of where the LA Lakers play.
So Staples Center.
Yeah, so I think it was at the Staples Center because there was pictures of like I don't know, Shaquille O'Neal and
Kobe.
Yeah, and Kobe. And so we pull up, and we go over, and I think we turn this corner, and it is. Remind you, we're in LA. We're in Los Angeles, California. And we turn this corner, and it is a sea of red, like as far as you can see. And we're at least my expression, and I'm sure like third, fourth, fifth years, I'm like, yeah, this is normal. My expression as a first year has never experienced a bowl game before. Turn the corner, I'm like my jaw drops. I'm like, oh. This is a lot of people. We're in LA, and we have literally an entire event center full of people just lining. And we ended up doing an entire performance there. Urban Meyer, of course, it was his last game. Showed up and gave a speech, it was just a huge event. And we're in LA. We're in California. We're on the other side of the country. And we are doing a performance, just a Buckeye performance, to our fan base. So I think that was really, really cool. Also, if you ever see any away games, just look to see how many fans are Ohio State fans.
There are a lot. There are a lot.
Yeah. I remember,
I'll send Craig a picture of it when when Ohio State came to Purdue and got smacked.
Most times when we have a full stadium full of red at Rutgers, it's because we're playing Ohio State, and the red is not Rutgers Scarlet; it's Ohio State Scarlet. So
I don't even want to talk about when Maryland played Ohio State. Not that, but I guess there were games that were played on the football field. That's all I'll say. So outside of that, I have a couple questions when it comes to, student life at Ohio State and what kind of things that you guys do. I guess for you, what places are you frequenting around campus? Is there I guess if you were someone who worked for TripAdvisor and you wanted to give someone like a review of Ohio State, I guess from the student perspective of what places are you going to, what places are you eating at, social life, that kind of stuff. What's going on?
All right. So in terms of events, places to go, the Schottenstein Center, a fantastic place to go. We have a bunch of events there. We have some Buckeye Country Bash there. And there's a bunch of concerts there. That's where our basketball team plays. That's where our hockey team plays. If you're looking to be entertained, West Campus is where it's at. That's where the Ohio Stadium is. That's where I am right now. And that's where the Cavelli Center is, where the volleyball team plays. That's basically where entertainment is. There's an ice rink also on West Campus. You can hang out there. In terms of food, man, I live on North Campus, so this is biased for someone who's only lived on the North Campus their entire state, Ohio State. First of all, Scott is unlimited 2-story buffet, 2 stories.
Ooh.
Wait, does that mean like there's 2 floors to the buffet, or does that mean there's like a buffet and then a buffet right on top of that buffet?
No, there's 2 floors worth of buffet.
Okay.
I thought that part was.
It's just like
kind of
food stacked on
self-explanatory.
top
I
of
was
food.
like, is there like another
you
tray
can't
right
get
on
to
top of the other tray?
Yeah, like you can like name a food and it's there. Like seriously, just name a food and I bet you it's there.
Star fruit.
Probably.
An
Got it.
actual Buckeye.
An actual Buckeye.
I'm sure you can find those. I'm pretty sure Buckeyes are poisonous though.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they are poisonous. I remember
Interesting
I had-
mascot.
one of my friends from my section, his name is Jason. He always used to like to kind of throw out clever facts during basketball games, and one thing that he would shout when we were playing Ohio State was, "A Buckeye is just a poisonous acorn."
I remember in the
that's what I
podcast
know.
we were talking about the random facts.
Yeah.
Like one of the random
So
facts.
many random facts.
One of the random facts would be like Columbus is the capital of Ohio.
Yeah.
I remember when you guys were talking about that episode.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that was when Jess was on, in episode 1.
Episode 1, all the way back
Shout
in the
out
day.
pilot episode.
Yeah.
Actually, when I watched that one, I was actually painting a building at work when I was listening to that episode.
Oh.
It was fantastic, and it actually made the time fly.
Hey,
Oh,
let's
glad.
get
Hey,
it.
perfect. Look at
We
that.
are great for painting buildings. Put that on a
Exactly.
bumper sticker. Let's go.
Straight out of the Ohio State head drum major. So,
There we go.
painting building, listen to our podcast.
I need to
You
know
know
more
what
food places because it seems like you're going pretty hype on the food things, and like I'm excited to know what else there is at Ohio State.
All right, so of course, Scott. Some people, all right, when you're an Ohio State student, there is great food on campus. But honestly, I can tell you the greatest thing to do, and why I suggest Scott, is because it takes one swipe. I don't know if you have swipes, but it's way too much for me to explain to go into right now.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes one swipe to get in, and they don't kick you out until they close. So the best move, I did this my spring semester because I ain't got time in my fall semester. My spring semester, swipe myself in, eat myself some breakfast at 11 o'clock. All right, do some studying, write a paper, whatever. It's about 1 or 2. Lunchtime, eat some lunch, watch some YouTube. You're in Ohio State, you literally have Wi-Fi everywhere. So you just like watch, enjoy yourself, watch the Netflix, and then you get back to work, and then it gets around like 6, 7 o'clock. All right, you go get some more food, fill yourself up, you got dinner, then you go home. You spend literally almost an entire day in Scott. You spend one swipe, you get your studying done. It's a productive day. So that's why I suggest Scott. I don't know if Scott allows us to do that actually, but we can keep that in there.
All right.
Next on North Campus is Curl Marketplace. It's basically a store, but they have a burrito bowl place, and I'm a big burrito bowl fan. When I was starting my diet for preparing for drum major tryouts, I'm not even joking, ate a burrito bowl every single day of my spring semester. They're fantastic. I suggest the queso, as well as there's a bunch of other things there. It's great. Next on campus for food-wise, anything at the Union. Sloopy's. Any breakfast is fantastic.
So it definitely seems like there's a lot.
Yeah, so and then for Union food, anything at the Union, like Woody's Cafe is fantastic. The wings are a fantastic deal, and then Sloopy's. Breakfast at Sloopy's is great. That smacks on a Sunday morning after a game day.
Ooh.
Oh, that after game day meal is always one of the better
that
ones.
Oh, they're so good.
That is always such an important meal,
It is. I'm trying to think. I think the best way to kind of wrap everything up here is, I guess it's a 2-part question, but what are some of the things that you've enjoyed most, being in band, being a drum major, or even going into being a drum major now, but being on D-Row and just being in the band in general? And then for people that are interested in joining Ohio State's marching band, joining the best damn band in the land, what advice would you give people who are interested in doing band, possibly woodwind instruments, kind of like you were, that may want to do D-Row or may want to switch over to a brass instrument? What sort of advice would you give them in terms of why you should join the best damn band in the land?
All right. So from my experience, just my favorite thing about being in the band is the interactions with the people. I think, our band being extremely unique, like we have all kinds of personalities, and you're able to get along with everyone. Everyone's there for the same reason. We want to be in the best damn band in the land. We want to be the best. We want to have an amazing halftime performance. Just we want to blow people's minds and just make some awesome music. So it's really, really fantastic to be able to meet people that are extremely like-minded, and have something that they just like spent 4 years in high school looking up to this marching band, and now they made it, and they have a very similar like upcoming story as you do, and it's just, the people are fantastic, and I say it's one of my favorite things about being in this marching band. There's the people that are in it, the people that are fans of it, the people that I get to meet, just it's so awesome. And now for those who want to be in the band, best thing to do is sign up for summer sessions, get involved, reach out to us, send a message. And if you're confused about how to sign up, if it's like fall semester or spring semester, you don't know like where to go, how to start practicing, what to learn, just send a message to us. Our email address, I don't know by heart, but our email address is tbdl.osu.edu. That's the best damn band in the land. And I'll make Craig. I'll
put it up on the screen.
Yeah, right here.
All right.
The best band in the land at OSU or .osu. No, the best band in the land .osu.edu. Send inquiry forms. Send a message to our social media pages, and just make an effort to get involved. If you're a senior and let's say you're watching this about now and you want to try out right now, sign up for summer sessions. With them being online right now, it's a fantastic resource that you can do. If you're sitting in Mexico right now, you can be trying out and practicing for the best damn band in the land. So yeah, just make an effort, practice, learn all you can, and just just have fun with it. It is a long road, and you're never going to get to the end of it if you make it work. You're never going to be able to get to the end of that road. You're never going to reach your goal if you make it feel like, all right, I got to go work. I got to go have fun. I got to go make music. I got to go, march, learn myself, improve myself. You got to think of it positively. So just, the best damn band in the land, osu.edu. Again, right? More editing, Craig.
All right,
I'll copy and paste.
Well, I think that's a great way to end it. So thank you so much for coming on, Brayden. We really appreciate it. We really appreciate having you on and telling us all about Ohio State. And we'll make sure to obviously plug. You can put it on my face, all of the socials for all. If you don't know them, obviously Twitter, Facebook. I'm sure you guys are probably on TikTok and Snapchat and all that good stuff. Yeah, so if you don't know it, just look it up online, and their social media presence, your social media presence is insane. So you'll definitely find it. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening to episode 7. We're going to try to get this out as soon as possible, and then, onward and upward from here. So thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you next week.
Go Bucks.
Out of my way!